Imagine you're a young debutante stepping into the Grand Carlton House ballroom in 1812, your heart racing with a mix of excitement and unease as you cross the threshold into a world where the air is thick with the sweet, waxy scent of burning candles and the faint, intoxicating trail of expensive perfume, mingling with the subtle, musky hint of sweat beneath the ornate masks of aristocrats. But as you glide through the crowd, you catch a whisper, a hushed, scandalous rumor about lords and ladies concealing something sinister behind their polished smiles, their secrets lurking in the shadows that dance across the golden walls adorned with intricate tapestries. Welcome to the Regency era, a time from 1811 to 1820 when power and vice intertwined in ways we're about to unravel in this first chapter. During this period, the British aristocracy transformed their salons and balls into arenas of intrigue, where sexual scandals and decadent games became tools to assert dominance and control. Historians like Ian Fleming, in his meticulous research, hint at tales of private gatherings where stakes soared far beyond mere gold, and today's elites, from Hollywood leaks to royal controversies in 2025, reflect this enduring cycle. This isn't just a relic of history, it's a mirror held up to our modern world. If this already stirs your curiosity, hit that like button and subscribe now. Drop a comment below telling us where you're watching from, your voice fuels this journey into the forgotten. The Regency era was a dazzling display of opulence, but beneath its lavish facade lay a darkness rarely dared to be spoken of. Picture the vast, echoing hall, where crystal chandeliers cast a warm, flickering glow over the rustling silk gowns of ladies and the polished boots of gentlemen, the floorboards creaking under the weight of dancing feet, but in a shadowed corner, you notice a masked figure leaning close to a lord with a cold, calculating stare, his gloved hand clutching a sealed letter. This period, when Prince Regent George ruled in place of the Mad King George III, became a stage for aristocratic games where power was measured not just by inherited titles, but by the ability to manipulate secrets and indulge in forbidden pleasures. Chronicles from the time, such as the passionate diaries of Lady Caroline Lamb, are laced with tantalizing hints of exclusive gatherings where politics intertwined with more intimate bargains, hinting at a world where influence was bought with whispers rather than wealth alone. Rumors about Carlton House, the regent's lavish residence, suggest its balls evolved into something more than mere dances, spectacles of power where beauty, youth, and scandal became a currency traded in the dim light of chandeliers. Was this the eccentric indulgence of a privileged few or a carefully orchestrated system where vice served to reinforce the rigid hierarchy of society? The question hangs heavy in the air as the candles cast long, trembling shadows. Many who found themselves at the heart of these games, servants silently observing, young women thrust into the spotlight, became silent victims, their voices drowned by the rustle of expensive fabrics, their suffering forgotten beneath the clink of crystal glasses, their resilience a faint, flickering glimmer lost in the overwhelming shadow of luxury and privilege. Yet this world extended beyond the ballroom's glittering surface. Imagine a cold draft slipping through the tall, drafty windows, the soft, deliberate shuffle of a footman delivering invitations to secret assemblies tucked into velvet-lined pockets, and the tense, almost electric silence that falls when someone dares to mention Lady Hester Stanhope, whose reputation was forever tarnished by whispers of her exotic liaisons with Eastern harems and unorthodox lifestyles. Historical documents, such as the Duke of Wellington's private correspondence, allude to the existence of clandestine societies where aristocrats traded not just money, but compromising secrets, wielding them as weapons of blackmail and influence to secure their positions. These hidden networks, shrouded in the elegance of the era, laid the groundwork for a culture of decadence that shaped the Regency's social order. Modern parallels, leaked celebrity text messages in 2025, controversies swirling around the British royal family, or the scandals of global elites, demonstrate that this dynamic of power through vice persists unbroken. Was this era the glittering pinnacle of decadence, a fleeting moment of excess, or the beginning of something more sinister that has endured through the centuries, adapting to new forms of privilege? The question lingers as a chill creeps up your spine, the weight of history pressing down. Many of those caught in these webs, maids who overheard too much, debutantes pressured into silence, overlooked figures erased from the narrative, endured the crushing burden of secrecy, their resilience tested by the demands of a society that thrived on their suffering, their pain buried beneath the glitter of chandeliers, their stories erased by the relentless march of aristocratic privilege. But this was only the surface of their world. What lay behind the masks of these elite gatherings, and who pulled the strings in the shadows? Smash that like button if you're intrigued, and subscribe now to dive deeper into this shadowy tale of the Regency's darkest secrets. Imagine you're slipping through a hidden door in a grand London townhouse in 1813, the air growing heavy with the rich, smoky scent of aged brandy and the faint, seductive rustle of silk gowns as you step into a dimly lit salon. Your pulse quickening with every step as you see lords and ladies gathered around a velvet-draped table, their laughter tinged with a dark, knowing edge. This is no ordinary gathering, it's a secret salon where the elite played games of power and pleasure, a chilling continuation of the whispers we uncovered in Part 1, where the Regency aristocracy wielded vice as a weapon of dominance. From 1811 to 1820, these clandestine rooms became stages for card games with stakes that soared beyond gold. Rumors speak of favors, compromising secrets, and even the subtle promise of intimate encounters traded in the flickering, golden candlelight. Historians like Amanda Foreman, in her detailed studies of the era, document these hidden societies, and today, the echoes linger in the gambling dens and elite scandals exposed in 2025. If this sends a shiver down your spine, hit that like button and subscribe now. Comment below what you think so far, your voice keeps this story alive and breathing. These salons were more than mere social clubs, they were battlegrounds of influence disguised by an elegant veneer. Picture the scene, the soft, rhythmic clink of crystal glasses filled with ruby-red wine, the sharp, satisfying snap of cards hitting the green felt table, the tense, electric hush as a lord wagers not just his fortune but a whispered favor from a trembling young debutante, her eyes wide with a mix of fear and desperation. The Regency elite, including prominent figures like the Duke of Devonshire, frequented these exclusive gatherings, where games like Pharaoh and Whist evolved into vehicles for power and manipulation. Historical accounts, such as the scandalous memoirs of Harriet Wilson, a courtesan who navigated these inner circles, hint at bets that included nights of companionship or the exchange of compromising letters used to secure political leverage. The air was thick with the polished scent of mahogany furniture and the faint, musky perfume of the players, a world where losing meant more than financial ruin, it could mean social disgrace, forced alliances, or the loss of personal autonomy. Was this a harmless pastime for the bored and wealthy or a calculated system designed to bind others to their will, a game where pleasure became the ultimate currency of control? The question lingers as the cards are dealt with deliberate precision. Many who entered these rooms, servants forced to serve in silence, women pressured into complicity, endured the crushing weight of these stakes, their resilience tested by the demands of the elite, their fear a constant, oppressive shadow cast by the chandelier's glow, their stories buried beneath the clatter of poker chips, their pain a silent, hidden cost of the aristocracy's amusement. The stakes in these salons often escalated into territories of scandal and unyielding control, weaving a web of obligation. Imagine the oppressive, heart-pounding atmosphere, the creak of a leather chair as a masked figure leans forward, the soft, deliberate rustle of a silk glove brushing against a letter of blackmail tucked into a waistcoat, the cold, gleaming reflection of a chandelier's light dancing off a pile of gold coins stacked high. The Duke of Wellington himself was rumored to have navigated these circles, using his military prestige to tilt the odds in his favor, while courtesans like Julia Johnstone traded secrets for their own survival in this treacherous game. Documents from the period, such as letters archived in the British Library, suggest these games were less about wealth and more about crafting a network of dependency. Losers might owe a knight at a discreet address, a promise to sway a vote in Parliament, or the surrender of a family heirloom to settle a debt. The Regency's social structure thrived on such dependencies, a shadowy network of vice that reinforced the aristocracy's iron grip on power, all hidden behind the polished facade of high society. Modern parallels abound, from the underground gambling rings exposed in 2025 to the power plays of corporate magnates, proving this legacy of manipulation endures. Was this a reflection of humanity's darker instincts or a deliberate design to maintain an unbreakable hierarchy, a system where every hand played tighten the chains of control over the vulnerable? The question hangs in the air as the room grows quieter, the tension palpable. Many suffered in these shadowed sanctuaries, maids who overheard damning conversations, young men coerced into lifelong debts, their resilience a fragile, flickering thread, their pain a toll paid in silence, their voices lost to the rustle of velvet curtains and the clink of gold. But the games grew bolder with each passing night. What happened when the masks came off, and the true nature of these gatherings was revealed? Smash that like button if you're captivated, and subscribe now to uncover the next layer of this sinister tale. imagine you're stepping into the moonlit expanse of Vauxhall Gardens during a masquerade in 1814, the night air thick with the heady, intoxicating scent of blooming roses and the sharp, tangy whiff of spilled wine from overturned glasses, your heart pounding as you don a feathered mask, its weight unfamiliar against your skin, only to notice shadowy figures slipping into a secluded grove, their laughter carrying a dangerous, almost predatory undertone. This is no innocent revelry, it's a masked orgy where the Regency elite shed their public identities, a chilling escalation from the secret salons of Part II, where vice was already a weapon of power. From 1811 to 1820, these masquerades at Vauxhall and other hidden venues became hotbeds of scandal, where the anonymity of masks fueled illicit encounters, hidden desires, and the exchange of scandalous favors, their secrets buried beneath the rustle of silk and the flicker of torchlight. Historians like Stella Tilliard, in her detailed accounts of the era, document these events, and today, their echoes resonate in the exclusive parties and leaked scandals dominating headlines in 2025. If this sends a chill coursing through you, hit that like button and subscribe now, comment below your reaction, your voice honors this hidden past that refuses to stay buried. These masquerades transformed public festivity into a private theater of vice, cloaked by the protective veil of darkness. Picture the scene, the soft, wavering glow of lanterns casting eerie, elongated shadows across a crowded dance floor alive with movement, the rhythmic swish of satin gowns brushing against one another in a hypnotic rhythm, the tense, almost suffocating silence as a masked lord takes a lady's trembling hand and leads her into a hidden alcove, her breath catching in her throat. Vauxhall Gardens, with its labyrinthine paths, private supper boxes, and dense foliage, was notorious for such gatherings, where the anonymity of masks allowed the aristocracy to indulge in behaviors forbidden by the strict moral codes of daylight. Historical accounts, including the social journals of Thomas Raikes, a keen observer of the era, hint at orgiastic revelries where couples vanished into the night, their identities shielded by elaborate costumes, while others speculate these events served as a release valve for the repressed tensions simmering beneath the surface of high society. The air was thick with the damp, earthy scent of grass mingled with the expensive cologne of the masked revelers, a world where every stolen glance could conceal a scandalous bargain or a promise of forbidden pleasure. Was this a fleeting escape from the rigid morals of the time or a deliberate system designed to reinforce power through the sharing of compromising secrets, a game where anonymity became the ultimate shield against accountability? The question lingers as the distant music fades into a haunting silence. Many who participated, servants forced to turn a blind eye to the proceedings, women coerced into the dance of deception, endured the crushing weight of these nights, their resilience tested by the demands of the elite, their fear a constant, oppressive companion in the shadows, their stories lost to the rustle of leaves stirred by the night breeze, their pain a silent tribute to the unchecked pleasures of the aristocracy. The true nature of these masquerades often descended into darker territories of exploitation and unyielding control, a web that ensnared the vulnerable. Imagine the oppressive, heart-pounding atmosphere, the distant, muffled hum of a string quartet struggling to be heard through thick hedges, the soft, deliberate crunch of gravel underfoot as you follow a group to a secluded pavilion draped in velvet curtains, the cold, unsettling touch of a stranger's gloved hand guiding you into the shadows, its grip firm yet secretive. Reports from the time, such as those in the Morning Post, suggest that some masquerades were carefully orchestrated events where young women, often debutantes lured by promises of status or servants pressured by their masters, found themselves trapped in compromising situations, their innocence bartered for the amusement of the powerful. Figures like the Earl of Barrymore were linked to such scandals, their vast wealth ensuring the silence of the press and the complicity of participants, while the Regency's rigid social code demanded discretion, masking an undercurrent of blackmail and coercion that was as real as the masks they wore. The air grew thick with the scent of damp earth and the faint trace of spilled perfume, a world where every step deeper into the grove tightened the invisible chains of dominance. Modern parallels emerge in the secretive gatherings of today's wealthy, exposed in 2025 tabloids where power dynamics echo those of the past, from elite parties to hushed corporate retreats. Was this a celebration of freedom from societal constraints or a calculated exploitation of the powerless, a system where masks hid the iron chains of control beneath a veneer of revelry? The question hangs as the torches dim and the shadows lengthen. Many suffered in these hidden groves, maids pressured into serving the elite's whims, young women stripped of agency and dignity, their resilience a fragile, flickering spark in the darkness, their pain a hidden cost paid in silence, their voices silenced by the rustle of satin and the clink of champagne flutes raised in toast to their suffering. But the masks couldn't conceal all the secrets. What unfolded when the revelry turned deadly, and the consequences could no longer be ignored? Smash that like button if you're gripped by this tale, and subscribe now to dive deeper into the abyss. Imagine you're standing on a misty dawn field in 1815, the air sharp with the biting chill of frost and the faint, metallic tang of dew-soaked grass clinging to your boots, your breath forming faint clouds as you watch two silhouetted figures pace with deliberate steps, their pistols glinting ominously in the pale, gray light, their quarrel born of a lover's betrayal whispered about at last. Weeks masquerade. This is the world of forbidden duels, a deadly extension of the vices we've traced through parts 1 to 3, where the Regency aristocracy turned romantic rivalries and jealous passions into battles of honor fought in the shadows. From 1811 to 1820, these clandestine confrontations, often triggered by affairs, public slights, or the sting of infidelity, became a twisted ritual to uphold reputation, their secrets buried beneath the sharp crack of gunfire and the rustle of early morning leaves stirred by a restless breeze. Historians like Ben Wilson, in his exhaustive studies of the era, chronicle these events, and today, their echoes linger in the media feuds, celebrity rivalries, and honor disputes dominating the headlines of 2025. If this grips you with a surge of tension, hit that like button and subscribe now. Comment below your thoughts. Your voice carries this tale of honor and shame forward into the light. These duels were more than mere skirmishes, they were a theater of pride and shame enacted in the secrecy of dawn's embrace. Picture the scene, the soft, deliberate crunch of boots on frost-covered ground, the distant, mournful call of a morning bird abruptly silenced by the tense, suffocating stillness, the cold, heavy weight of a pistol in a trembling hand as a lord faces his rival across a dew-drenched field, the air thickening with the acrid scent of gunpowder from a recent test shot. The Regency elite, including prominent figures like Lord Castlereagh, engaged in these illegal duels to settle scores over lovers or public humiliations, often ignited by the scandals that simmered from masquerades and salons. Historical records, such as the trial notes from the infamous 1809 duel between Castlereagh and Canning, reveal how these encounters were meticulously planned with seconds ensuring discretion, yet the stakes were nothing less than life and honor, with blood staining the grass of fields like Putney Heath as a grim testament to a code that demanded satisfaction at any cost. The faint echo of a pistol shot reverberated through the mist, a sound that carried the weight of reputations won or lost, a world where every duel was a performance for an unseen audience. Was this a noble defense of personal honor or a barbaric display of unchecked ego, a system where love and jealousy became the triggers for violence and death? The question lingers as the mist swirls thicker around the duelists. Many who witnessed or were drawn into these conflicts, servants forced to assist in the preparations, women at the heart of the disputes whose names fueled the fire, endured the harrowing aftermath, their resilience tested by the trauma, their fear a constant, oppressive shadow cast by the rising sun, their stories lost to the wind that carried away the smoke, their pain a silent price paid for the elite's obsession with pride. The duels often spiraled into deeper webs of scandal, coercion, and unspoken consequences, binding the participants in an unbreakable chain. Imagine the oppressive, heart-pounding atmosphere, the faint rustle of a heavy cloak as a second hands over a sealed letter of challenge, its wax seal glinting in the dim light, the sharp, icy sting of cold air against your flushed cheeks, the heavy, thudding rhythm of your heart as you hear the terms, duel or disgrace, whispered in a shadowed alley near a gaslit street. Cases like the 1821 duel between Beau Brummel and Lord Alvanley, though just beyond the Regency's end, trace their roots to earlier rivalries where love triangles, blackmail, and wounded pride fueled the flames of conflict. Documents from the Home Office archive suggest some duels were staged not just for honor but to enforce silence, with losers pressured into alliances, ruinous debts, or the surrender of compromising letters that could destroy a family's standing. The Regency's strict laws against dueling only heightened the thrill, driving these encounters underground to remote fields and deserted commons, where the elite's power was reinforced through the fear and loyalty it inspired. Modern parallels emerge in the public feuds of celebrities in 2025, where honor is defended with lawsuits and social media salvos instead of pistols, yet the stakes of reputation and influence remain as high as ever. Was this a ritual of courage born from a bygone code or a tool of oppression designed to maintain an unyielding hierarchy, a system where every shot fired tightened the grip of control over those who dared to challenge the status quo. The question hangs as the pistol smoke dissipates into the morning air. Many suffered in these frostbitten fields, seconds scarred by the guilt of their role, women whose beauty or indiscretion sparked the conflict, their resilience a fragile, flickering thread stretched to its limit, their pain a hidden toll paid in blood and tears, their voices silenced by the crack of gunfire that echoed through the empty landscape. But the violence didn't end with the duels. What happened when passion turned lethal, and the consequences could no longer be swept away? Smash that like button if you're drawn into this dark narrative, and subscribe now to explore the next chilling chapter. Imagine you're a young woman in 1816, standing in a cold, echoing drawing room, the air heavy with the stale, oppressive scent of polished mahogany and the faint, nervous rustle of your mother's silk dress as she presses a thick marriage contract into your trembling hands, your heart sinking like a stone as you hear the distant clink of champagne glasses from a celebration you're being sold into, the weight of the room pressing down on your shoulders. This is the fall of innocence, a harrowing chapter following the duels of Part 4, where the Regency aristocracy turned the innocence and beauty of young women into bargaining chips in their vicious games of power and prestige. From 1811 to 1820, arranged marriages and exploitative deals became a chilling currency of control, their secrets locked behind closed doors and sealed with the scratch of a quill, their echoes felt in the forced unions, dowry disputes, and elite matchmaking scandals that persist among the wealthy in 2025. Historians like Jane Austen, through her subtle yet biting critiques in novels like Pride and Prejudice, hint at this grim reality beneath the veneer of romance, and if this stirs your soul with unease, hit that like button and subscribe now, comment below your feelings, your voice amplifies the silent struggle of those long forgotten. These marriages were less about love and more about a cold, calculated exchange of status and wealth, a transaction devoid of heart. Picture the scene, the dim, wavering flicker of a candelabra casting long, distorted shadows across a gleaming mahogany table, the sharp, deliberate scratch of a quill as your father signs away your future with a steady hand, the oppressive, suffocating silence broken only by the rustle of parchment being folded and the faint creak of the floorboards under the heavy step of a lawyer adjusting his spectacles. The Regency elite, including powerful families like the Duke of Bedford, orchestrated these unions with ruthless precision, where young women, often debutantes barely out of the schoolroom, their faces still carrying the blush of youth, were traded for titles, vast estates, or the forgiveness of crippling family debts. Historical records, such as the detailed marriage settlement of Lady Jersey, reveal contracts stipulating dowries that could rival a small fortune, alongside clauses that bound brides to husbands they barely knew, their youth and beauty reduced to a commodity in a market of privilege and ambition. The air was thick with the waxy scent of freshly applied seals and the tension of unspoken resistance, a world where a girl's forced smile masked a lifetime of obligation and despair. Was this a cherished tradition of alliance to strengthen bloodlines or a ruthless exploitation of the powerless, a system where innocence was the price paid for survival in a society built on appearances? The question lingers as the ink dries on the page, its permanence a chain around her soul. Many endured this fate, daughters pressured into silence by familial duty, mothers complicit in their daughters' chains out of necessity, their resilience tested by the weight of expectation, their fear a constant, oppressive shadow cast by the chandelier's glow, their stories buried under the heavy burden of family honor, their pain a silent sacrifice offered up for the aristocracy's unrelenting gain. The deals often plunged into deeper realms of coercion, heartbreak, and irreversible consequences, sealing fates with ironclad agreements that brooked no escape. Imagine the tense, heart-wrenching atmosphere, the cold, unyielding touch of a gold ring forced onto your finger by a stranger's hand, the bitter, metallic taste of tea served to seal the bargain lingering on your tongue, the heavy, final thud of a door closing as you're left alone with a husband's cold gaze, the sound echoing in the empty room. Cases like that of Lady Caroline Lamb, whose marriage to William Lamb was marred by her fierce resistance and his well-documented infidelity, highlight how these unions were less about partnership and more about control, her spirit broken by a society that valued her lineage over her heart. Legal documents from the period, carefully preserved in the National Archives, reveal clauses allowing husbands to reclaim dowries or enforce strict obedience, turning brides into little more than property with no voice or agency. The Regency's rigid social structure thrived on these transactions, a sprawling network where a woman's beauty or noble lineage was leveraged to secure political alliances, financial stability, or the settling of old scores, all conducted with the cold efficiency of a business deal. Modern parallels emerge in the prenuptial agreements and arranged marriages of wealthy families in 2025, where love is often a secondary consideration to strategy and profit, a reminder that this legacy endures. Was this a cultural norm accepted by the era or a deliberate subjugation of the vulnerable, a system where every signature on a contract tightened the chains around a woman's freedom and dreams? The question hangs as the room grows colder, the silence deafening. Many suffered in these opulent drawing rooms, young women stripped of choice and autonomy, servants witnessing the tears shed in private, their resilience a fragile, flickering spark dimmed by despair, their pain a hidden toll paid in silence, their voices lost to the rustle of legal documents and the clink of glasses toasting their sacrifice. But the exploitation didn't stop at the altar. What happened when these unions bore fruit, and the next generation became pawns? Smash that like button if you're moved by their story, and subscribe now to uncover the next dark chapter. Imagine you're slipping down a narrow, gaslit alley in 1817, the air thick with the musky, damp scent of cobblestone slick with rain and the faint, illicit waft of expensive perfume drifting from a discreet, unmarked doorway, your heart racing with a mix of curiosity and dread as you hear the muffled, seductive laughter and the delicate clink of crystal glasses from within, a world hidden from the judgmental gaze of respectable Victorian society. These are the hidden houses of pleasure, a sinister evolution from the exploitative marriages of Part 5, where the Regency aristocracy indulged their darkest, most forbidden desires in secret brothels tailored exclusively for the elite. From 1811 to 1820, establishments like those nestled in the shadowy corners of Covent Garden became sanctuaries of vice, their secrets locked behind heavy velvet curtains, guarded by the silence of paid discretion, their influence reverberating in the underground sex trade scandals and elite indiscretions exposed in the media of 2025. Historians like Judith Flanders, in her meticulous explorations of the era's underbelly, document these shadowy realms, and if this sends a shiver of unease through you, hit that like button and subscribe now, comment below your thoughts, your voice uncovers these buried truths that demand to be heard. These houses were more than mere brothels, they were temples of power constructed on a foundation of exploitation and control. Picture the scene, the soft, warm glow of oil lamps casting a seductive hue over crimson-painted walls adorned with gilded frames, the heavy, luxurious rustle of velvet curtains as a madam with a knowing smile ushers in a masked lord, the tense, almost electric silence broken by the deliberate clink of gold coins changing hands in a leather pouch, the air thick with the heady scent of burning incense and the faint, underlying trace of nervous sweat. Covent Garden, with its labyrinthine network of discreet buildings and hidden entrances, housed these establishments, where the elite sought pleasures far beyond the reach of their public personas, a world where anonymity was both shield and currency. Historical accounts, such as the scandalous memoirs of Harriet Wilson, a famed courtesan who navigated these inner circles, reveal how these houses catered to aristocrats like the Duke of Wellington, offering not just companionship but a clandestine network of influence where secrets were traded like rare commodities, their value measured in power rather than pounds. The rooms were opulently decorated with rich tapestries, gilded mirrors reflecting the flickering light, yet beneath this veneer of luxury lay a grim reality of coercion. Where young women, often lured by false promises or forced by circumstance, were trapped into a life of service, their freedom bartered for the amusement of the powerful. Was this a private indulgence for the wealthy, a release from their rigid lives, or a calculated system designed to maintain control through the exploitation of the vulnerable, a game where pleasure masked the iron fist of dominance? The question lingers as the curtains sway gently in the draft. Many endured this shadowed existence, women ensnared by poverty, girls pressured into silence by threats or debt, their resilience tested by the relentless demands of their captors, their fear a constant, oppressive shadow cast by the lamplight, their stories lost to the rustle of expensive fabrics, their pain a silent, enduring offering to the insatiable desires of the aristocracy. The operations of these houses often deepened into a web of blackmail, dependency, and moral compromise, ensnaring all who crossed their thresholds. Imagine the oppressive, heart-pounding atmosphere, the faint, ominous creak of aged floorboards under a client's cautious step, the cold, clammy touch of a coin pressed into a trembling hand as payment for silence, the heavy, final thud of a reinforced door locking behind you as you're left in a dimly lit room with a stranger's calculating gaze. Records from the period, such as the detailed police reports of the Bow Street runners, suggest that some of these houses doubled as fronts for blackmail, where compromising encounters were meticulously documented, through hidden sketches or whispered confessions, to ensure the loyalty or silence of powerful patrons, their reputations held hostage to the madam's discretion. Figures like the notorious Madame Elizabeth Armistead thrived in this underworld, her connections to politicians and nobles ensuring her protection and profitability, her establishments a hub where influence was bought and sold under the guise of pleasure. The Regency's moral facade, with its emphasis on propriety, hid a thriving, shadowy network where these houses reinforced the aristocracy's dominance, their wealth funding the silence of witnesses and the complicity of the law. Modern parallels emerge in the escort scandals and elite sex rings uncovered in 2025 tabloids, where power dynamics and coercion mirror those of the past, from Hollywood elites to shadowy corporate retreats. Was this a hidden escape from societal constraints or a deliberate exploitation of the powerless, a system where every visit to these houses tightened the chains of control over those who served and those who paid? The question hangs as the oil lamps dim and the shadows lengthen. Many suffered within these opulent walls, servants forced to comply with the whims of their masters, women stripped of agency and dignity, their resilience a fragile, flickering thread stretched to its breaking point, their pain a hidden toll paid in silence and submission, their voices silenced by the clink of gold coins and the rustle of velvet drapes. But the pleasure sought in these houses didn't remain confined to their walls. What happened when the elite's appetites grew uncontrollable, spilling into the streets? Smash that like button if you're captivated by this dark revelation, and subscribe now to delve deeper into the abyss. Imagine you're standing in a dusty archive in 2025, the air heavy with the musty, nostalgic scent of aging paper and the faint, crackling whisper of turning pages, your fingers brushing against a faded letter from 1819, its ink smudged yet revealing a scandal that shaped an entire era, while outside, the low, persistent hum of modern news reports filters through the window, echoing the same themes of power, shame, and hidden desires. This is the legacy of vice, the concluding chapter following the hidden houses of Part 6, where the Regency aristocracy's vicious games left an indelible, shadowy mark on the Victorian era and continue to resonate in our world today. From 1811 to 1820, their excesses, duels fought over lovers, marriages arranged for profit, brothels thriving in secrecy, wove a complex tapestry of control that influenced societal norms for generations. Their secrets preserved in historical records and mirrored in the elite scandals, power struggles, and moral hypocrisies exposed in the media of 2025. Historians like E.P. Thompson, in his groundbreaking analyses, trace this unsettling continuity from the gaslit streets of London to the digital age, and if this moves you to reflect, hit that like button and subscribe now, comment below your reflections, your voice closes this journey with profound meaning. The Regency's vices shaped the Victorian repression that followed, a paradox of progress cloaked in piety. Picture the scene, the soft, deliberate thud of a heavy leather-bound book closing in a gaslit study, the sharp, acrid scent of coal smoke mingling with the rich aroma of leather bindings, the cold, unyielding weight of a moral code tightening its grip as Queen Victoria ascends the throne in 1837, yet the whispers of Regency scandals, duels, dalliances, and debauchery, linger like ghosts in the air. The transition from the Regency's unrestrained decadence to Victorian prudishness was not a clean break, it was a strategic rebranding, a shift in appearance rather than substance. The aristocracy's dueling culture gave way to legal battles fought in courtrooms, their arranged marriages evolved into stricter dowry laws and societal expectations, and their brothels transformed into discreet escort services operating under the guise of respectability, all while maintaining the same underlying hunger for power. Historical documents, such as the private diaries of Charles Greville, reveal how Regency elites like the Duke of Wellington influenced Victorian policies to safeguard their legacies, embedding a culture of silence and denial around past indiscretions, ensuring their influence endured. The air grew thick with the scent of propriety and polished furniture, yet beneath this polished surface lay the same insatiable appetite for control and privilege. Was this a genuine moral awakening to guide a new era or a clever disguise to preserve the elite's dominance, a system where vice adapted to new rules while the powerless bore the cost? The question lingers as the pages of history turn with a solemn creak. Many bore the weight of this shift, women forced into even stricter gender roles, servants bound by new, rigid hierarchies, their resilience tested by the changing demands, their voices muted by the era's polished image, their pain a hidden thread woven into the fabric of Victorian society, their stories overshadowed by the relentless march of progress and propriety. The legacy of these vices endures, reflecting in today's power dynamics with unsettling, almost prophetic clarity. Imagine the somber, reflective atmosphere, the distant, insistent buzz of a 2025 news broadcast detailing a celebrity sex scandal or a politician's cover-up, the bitter, lingering taste of coffee turning sour in your mouth as you read about elite indiscretions, the cold, heavy realization settling into your chest as you connect these modern headlines to a yellowed letter from 1819 describing a lord's secret vice. Modern parallels abound, from the #MeToo movement exposing historical patterns of exploitation to the 2025 leaks of political figures' private indiscretions, where power and pleasure still intertwine in a dance as old as time. The Regency's influence is evident in the Victorian obsession with reputation, which morphed into today's media-driven image control, where scandals are managed with public relations firms and legal injunctions instead of duels or discreet payoffs, yet the stakes of influence and dominance remain as high as ever. Artifacts like the preserved correspondence of Lord Byron, hinting at his Regency escapades and their impact on his later life, underscore this continuity, showing how the elite's games adapted rather than vanished, evolving with the times while the vulnerable continued to pay the price. Was this a lesson from history that we've willfully ignored, or a cycle we're doomed to repeat, a system where every scandal reinforces the same entrenched power structures that began in the Regency's shadows? The question hangs as the broadcast fades into a haunting silence. Many suffer still, victims of modern exploitation. Voices struggling to break through the noise of privilege, their resilience a powerful call to action in our time, their pain a mirror reflecting the failures of the past, their stories urging us to remember, to learn, and to act. This ends our journey through the Regency's shadowy depths, but the fight for justice and accountability begins now, a battle that starts with each of us. Smash that like button if you're inspired to make a difference, and subscribe now to join us in seeking change and honoring their memory.